Hey everybody, this is Alma coming to you from Long Beach, California. Today is Friday, January 8th of the year 2021, and this is FlossTube number 46. So as always, I want to welcome you all. Welcome back to all of you returning viewers and subscribers. Thank you, as always, for your continuing support. And a special welcome to anybody that may be visiting for the first time. Thank you for giving me a chance. I hope that you like what you see, you find a reason to stay, to subscribe, and to continue to follow me on my stitching journey. I also wanted to do a special thank you to all of you that left comments and all sorts of well wishes on my video from last week, since it was the first anniversary of the channel. Thank you again for the comments. They really lifted my spirits, and we had a pretty chaotic week here in the United States, so it was very much needed. So thank you all for your support, and I hope that we can continue to be together and that I can continue to make videos for you for many more years to come. And this week was pretty busy. I was still, well, I did go back to school, but I'm only taking one class this semester, and there's no set like meeting schedules. It's you know, we just got all the assignments, and then it's up to us to pace ourselves. So I had a lot more time to stitch this time around, so that's why I decided to go ahead and do a regular FlossTube video, even though technically this week was supposed to be a stitch with me. I've got plenty to show you guys, so I just decided to go ahead and show you now rather than do an hour-long video next week. And most of the things I'll show you are pretty much based on the full coverage Fanatics bingo, since that's pretty much what I'm focusing on this month. So without further ado, let's get to the stitching. And this is in no particular order. I have them stacked here. So that's the order I'm going to show you guys. But one of the pieces that I worked on this week was a piece that I hadn't picked up in quite some time. This is my Eternal Promise chart from Heaven and Earth Designs, based on Matt Stewart's artwork. He's got quite a few designs inspired by Lord of the Rings. This is just one of them. This is the characters Arwen and Aragorn. He's got one for Gandalf, there's one with Frodo and Galadriel. He's got quite a few designs, but this one's going to be for my sister, and it's my second largest whip, so I really need to get cracking on this. I think I picked it up, I started this back in July, and I used it for one of the spaces for that once full coverage Fanatics bingo, because I did do it in July last year, and then I think I did like a couple of tasks on it, but that's it. So this time I used it for a space where we were supposed to stitch on a whip that had two of something, anything. So I'm like, well, this has two people, so it counts. This is all I have. I'm doing this on 25 count easy guide, and as it is, this is just under 2,600 stitches. It's not even a half, it's like 0.55, 0.57%. It's nothing, guys. Again, that's why I have to get cracking on this, and I am using, this is going to be my focus piece for Magical Stitches. We were supposed to declare one full coverage piece that was going to be our main focus, so I'm hoping to work on this regularly, if anything, so I can participate in that event. So hopefully you'll get to see this, if not every week, every other week. The next pieces that I worked on, I'm gonna have to show you my tablet because I don't have the image printed, but this first one is going to be one that I worked on for a space where we needed to work on something that had words or books. So as soon as I saw that category, I knew that I had to pick this one wipe, which if my tablet would cooperate, I would show you. This is Reader's Paradise, and the artwork is by Amy Stewart. It's a Heaven and Earth Designs piece or chart. And I got the supersized max colors version because I'm crazy. So I mean, obviously, words are books. It's a room full of books. It was perfect, and I could not work on it for that space. I started this back in November, I think. So this is what I've gotten so far. The last time you saw this, I had only just done this little section right here, which was like around 300 stitches. When the pieces that I started later in the year, I would only do 200 stitches so that they could qualify for no new starts, but then that's it. So I think for this one it was 300 because I used it for a task. So what I did this time around, the 1000 stitches that I did for bingo, was on this curve right here, and all the pink, all the shades of pink. So again, this is just over 1300 stitches, and it's nothing. It's not even a percentage point, so I have to get cracking on this as well, because otherwise it's never gonna get finished. And I do have this slated for one of the outrageous tasks from Magical Stitches, so I hope that it gets some work done. Eternal Promise is also going to be used for one of those. I think it's slotted for like 50,000 some stitches, so it'll get work done. And the next piece that I worked on, also from bingo, we needed to work on something that had a hot beverage on it, and I decided to go ahead and work on another piece that I started in November. I think I started in November. This is Tea and Books, and I think it's Ashwood. I think the designer's name is Ashwood, if I remember correctly. The piece, I actually started this with Tess from Tess Stitches. Yes, so Bridget Ashwood. This is the cover page from the actual PDF. So it's a Heaven and Designs piece. Bridget Ashwood is the artist, and this is just regular sized. I think there's a mini, but I decided that the mini didn't have enough detail, or it lost a lot of the detail. So I think we're both gonna do the original size, and this is what I got. The last time you saw this, I had only just done some of the red over here, and I had barely started the brown. I think I also added the black. So the 1000 stitches that I did were all in browns. There's just 2 shades of brown that I used. I am using this, and actually false, it's not 1000 stitches, it's 500, because I'm using this for an extra credit prompt in Enchanted Stitches, where we had to stitch on something that had to do with Belle, because Belle shows up for a split second during the Out There song in Hunchback of Notre Dame, which is our focus movie for the month. So we see Pumba, Belle, and the magic carpet. Again, just blink and you miss it, but we had to stitch on things that had to do with each of the characters. So I did 500 stitches on this for Belle because it's books she loves to read, but I'm also going to do an additional 500, not just to get the 1000 stitches for the bingo spot, but also because magic carpet flies, and there's butterflies here that also fly. So there you go. So I'll continue to work on this, so next week you'll see the 1000 stitches completed, hopefully. The next piece that I worked on, it is going to be a definite focus for the next few months. I originally wanted to finish it before the end of the year, but that didn't happen. And this is Bilbo's Home by Mandarin's Designs. And again, this was my new year, new start from last year, from 2020, and I was hoping to finish it before the end of this year, but it didn't happen. I only got to like 66%, because I believe it was 2/3. But I finished Bilbo. I added 1,000 stitches on this as well for bingo, for the space in bingo where we had to stitch on something with a door. So here's his door, he's sitting in the doorway. But yeah, those 1,000 stitches led me to finish all of the way, because I still had something to do. The stone path down here still needed some stitches. There was like random bits of greenery that needed to be filled in, but then most of the 1,000 stitches went into Bilbo himself. So yes, he is finished. I'm super excited for it. I don't know if I'll use it for another space, because a lot of the stitches that are left to do are half stitches, and I don't know how many of those there are. So I'll have to see. Maybe I can squeeze in another space for it so I can get 1,000 more stitches done on this one. But I'll have to see. You'll have to wait and see. As it is right now, I don't have it slated for any other spot. But I can always change things around. It's all in pencil. This is my board right here, which apparently my stitching mojo doesn't know how to play bingo because it's taking me all over the place. But yeah, everything's written in pencil, not in pen, so I can always change my mind. The next piece that I've worked on was one of my Tilton Crafts charts based on Daniel Kordek's artwork. This is Esmeralda, which, you know. Enchanted Stitching is focusing on Hunchback of Notre Dame this month, and this was actually one of the called pieces for Whipco as well, from Jessie Marie, so I could not work on Esmeralda this month. I used her for one of the extra credit prompts, as well as a weekly prompt. The extra credit prompt was, we needed to, because Frollo is obsessed with Esmeralda, we needed to put 1,000 stitches on a whip that we were obsessed with. So I'm just like, well, Frollo's obsessed with Esmeralda and I am as well, because I love those colors. So I added 1,000 stitches, and I'm trying to hold this so you can see all of it. But this is what I have so far. Most of the 1,000 stitches went into this like little streak of pinkish. There's like 2 or 3 shades in there, but they're all the same shade of pink. Yeah, it's like a dark pink, I don't know. But I also took care of like some of the confetti stitches that were all around the corner, and I also took care of this corner right here. Ideally, I would want to keep moving this way, so I'm trying to finish. That's why I'm going this way as well. It's because I want to finish like this section right here, so I can move the Q snap and keep going this way. But as it is, I don't know if you can tell, but there's like this arc that's forming right here. That's her tambourine. So I'm getting close. I'm getting close to getting to the object of the piece as opposed to the background. I do have this slated for another one of the extra credit prompts, which is where we have to stitch on something that has to do with Paris. So Esmeralda lives in Paris, and that's 1,600 stitches. So I'm definitely gonna use this for another space in the full coverage Fanatics bingo, and that'll also take care of my Whipco goal, which is to use the called pieces in whatever month they're called on, to use them in the prompts for either either of my challenge groups. I originally intended it to be the weekly, but then once the monthly prompts came out, I was like, I'll just go ahead and use it for those as well. As it is, I mean, she's gonna get 20, if I finish both prompts, she's gonna get 2,600 stitches just in this month alone. So that's plenty of progress. Another whip that got plenty of progress this week. It was hard. If you've watched my videos, then you know that I'm not one to focus on one single piece for an extended period of time, but for this one I really did want to make the effort. It's another one of my Tilton Crafts charts words based on Daniel Kordick's artwork. This is Wonder Woman, Warrior Princess, and besides the bingo board, I used her for the full coverage Fanatics book challenge, where they have 3 books per month, and then you have to stitch the page number, but multiplied, I think, by 10 or 100. So I used her for 2 spaces, penalty stitches. So if you don't have something, if you're counting your stitches and you don't have something that matches that category for the space, you can stitch twice the amount and just stitch on whatever you want. So and the reason why I did it that way is because the book that I was stitching up for her was Little Women, which was a total of the total stitches that we needed to do was 4,490 stitches. So again, a lot, almost pretty much 4,500 stitches done on her. And this is how far I got with her. I'm kind of kicking myself for not showing you guys this last week so you could see the before and the after, but essentially all I've done is this bit of blue down here. Well, all I've done, it's a lot, but I did this shade of brown, and then this darker shade of brown, and then I did a ton of 154, so it's a really dark purple, and really dark gray, like 37.99 I think is the number. It's practically black. So I filled in a lot of space over here, and then of course I started on her hair. That's her hair. I'm so excited. So the same thing with Esmeralda. I want to go ahead, I'm working, I think for this one I'm calling it here, because I think that's where the page rig is. Can't remember. But it's the same thing with Esmeralda. I'm trying to finish up this area right here, and I have to grid it, but I do want to move this way as well. So I want to do the top. They're almost the same size, but in terms of amount of stitches, but the dimensions are different. So this one is, it's a perfect square. It's 350 by 350. Esmeralda is obviously more portrait, but I'm just excited. Again, just like with Esmeralda, I was just very excited to be able to get to the object of the pattern of the piece. So I'll keep going on that, and then just immediately next to this is already we're already gonna get to her face. So next thing I stitch when I use black is gonna be her hair and her eyes. So I'm excited. So those are all the pieces that I worked on so far. I have started a couple of more spaces for the bingo, for the full coverage Fanatics bingo. The next piece that I'm gonna be working on is going to be Haku, and the design is by Ekaterina Saitova. Again, I haven't pulled him out in a long time, and I do want him to be one of my first finishes. So I'll show you him this time. I actually haven't started. I lied. I took him out so I could start stitching on it today, but I actually haven't started working on him. but this is where he is right now. I have him slated for 2 spaces. One for dragon, we have to stitch on something with a dragon, and then the second one is to stitch on our smaller piece, our smallest full coverage piece. So this one, I guess there's no escaping the half stitches because a lot of the sky and pretty much all of the sky and the water are half stitched, and then he's the only thing that's full stitches. So this entire space right here is gonna be all full stitches because this is his body, but then there'll be some half stitches to do. So I'm hoping that between those 2 spaces, bless you, I'm hoping that between those 2 spaces I can go ahead and finish him, except for the back stitch. I'm not gonna be using the back stitch for this because I don't want to count. I don't want to count the back stitch. And then the next space that I'll be working on is we have to stitch on something that has to that has a piece that has winter wear. So I'm gonna be bringing out my Disney villain ladies because Cruella de Vil is wearing a fur coat, which you really should only wear during, I mean, I'm not one for fur in the first place, but fur coats are generally winter wear. And then, but then also Maleficent has a cape, and the Evil Queen has her cape as well. Keep them warm. This is the one that I started on. This is the one that I actually started on. So I have it in the Q-snap. Again, I should have taken it out maybe so you could see the entire thing, but pretty much everything along the top is already finished, fully finished. So I just have to do her bottom half from the neck down. So hopefully I can, I think I only got like 30 stitches in. I didn't get too much done yet because I was focusing on the other ones. I was focusing more on the Eternal Promise. But I'll go ahead and work on these 2. Another piece that I'm gonna be pulling out for one of the weekly prompts, it's actually gonna be for penalty stitches, but this is my second whip for whip go. The second whip that got called is the I was gonna say modern folk embroidery. It's the Linen and Threads mystery sampler from 2020, the Friends and Family. I'm only on January, so I'll go ahead and work on this one, and I hope to be able to finish January this month at least, because again, I'm using it, I'm technically gonna use this for at least 1 weekly prompt, and I didn't use it for a monthly one because none of the monthly ones were based on time. They were all based on stitch count, and this isn't, at least the last time I checked, it wasn't Pattern Keeper compatible, so I didn't feel like counting stitches. But yeah, hopefully it'll get some progress done. I do want to add some more accents, so I was thinking of doing, there's a butterfly that's going to be right here and next to these 2 motifs, so I'm thinking of doing that in like a magenta color, and I do want to add some accents on white as well, especially if it's like areas like this where it's a dark color. Not so much here, for example, because that might be too light. But yeah, it's not all gonna be monochrome. I don't want to use all 3808. But yeah, that's all I have to show you for this time around. Again, pretty busy, and I already have plans for next week besides the Sal and the villains piece and Haku. I also want to do another 1,000 stitches on Esmeralda at least. Well, technically 1,600, but I don't think I'll get the 1,600 done this week, to be honest. That's 3. And then Reader's Paradise as well, because I have that slated for another slot. And Bingo, and then Eternal Promise as well. I want to keep going on that. So that's at least 5 whips. So we've got plenty to do. And I also want to bring out some of my regular pieces. Full Moon and Hogwarts. Hogwarts needs some love. I feel like it gives me anxiety to not touch it as often. So I do want to work on it this week. It's on my bingo board. I have it slotted for a new, well, instead of working on a new start, I'm gonna do penalty stitches and do 2,000 stitches on it. We'll have to see. I'll have to see next week what ends up getting done and what has to be pushed over to the following week. But yeah, thank you for joining me. Kind of shortish, not really. Again, that's why I decided to do a regular one, because I did have quite a bit to show you guys. But thank you for joining me. As always, I hope you guys have a very relaxing weekend, a productive week, and you always find the time to do the thing that makes you happy. So until next time, guys, take care. Bye.